Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of UNTV, where we're pretty close to knowing what's going on in WandaVision. I am Sky, and with me today we have the most unexpected of cakes.
Hi.
We have our West Coast correspondent, Zoe.
Hi.
And we have the woman most known for knowing how to reload a gun in video games. I Want to Munch, aka Allison.
It's my only skill.
Today we are talking about episode 8 previously on, which is very apt because it is mostly getting into the backstory of these characters. And is probably the most linear episode we've had to date of this show. Like, it's very sectioned off into its pieces. How did everybody feel about it just in general? Allison?
I enjoyed getting Agatha's backstory because I think I mentioned last week, I haven't read the comics. I have no idea who she is. So, yeah, it was neat to see where she came from and how old she really is. So, yeah, that was cool. And it was neat how they kind of walked us through what has happened since Endgame. I believe that's the right movie.
Yeah.
I always forget the names of them. That Avengers one where stuff happened, it was really, I think it was great to get all that context of what happened from point A to point B to where we are now.
Yeah, it's definitely great to finally get that stuff. Cake, what were your general thoughts on this one?
Yeah, basically the same as Munch. I love me torches and cloaks. That was a nice fun start to the episode. But yeah, I feel like it was a strong episode. A lot happened, a lot of questions were answered. We got a lot of backstory as previously on. A lot of my questions have been answered, especially around what Hayward's up to, and
it's not good stuff.
No, nothing good. So yeah, I feel like being the second last episode, they've really set up the final one to really wrap everything up neatly, I think.
Mm-hmm. And finally, Zoe, what did you think of the episode?
I did not care much for that episode. I was bored through most of it. It felt, and I think it's probably the difference between people that have seen all of the movies and people that haven't. It felt like a lot of it was just stuff that we already knew, and it was kind of trying to fill in things for people that hadn't seen all the movies or maybe just didn't know much, which fair enough. And I don't really care for over the top witches in movies, unfortunately. Yeah, that's it. It had good things in it, and definitely the Hayward thing just was interesting, and the second half of that episode I liked better, but not a fan.
So yeah, let's jump right into the over-the-top witches with where the episode starts with Agatha and her whole backstory here. First off, did everybody enjoy just the fact that they turned the Marvel Studios banner purple and had it disappear in the black smoke for Agatha?
Yes, I definitely noticed that.
I didn't notice.
Oh, I would have thought at least Zoe would have noticed. I'm not hearing anything from Zoe. Is she super delayed, or did she not make noise?
I think
Didn't
we're
notice
okay.
either.
Yeah, no.
Oh God, that is super delayed. That was
Yeah.
like a minute later.
It was a little delayed.
I don't know.
Okay, anyway.
Wait, am I delayed? Well, just 5 seconds though. Okay, it's fine. I can leave. I can come back.
Technology, you gotta love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I did not notice that. What was it in the title thing that you're talking about?
Yeah, just where it says Marvel Studios, that's usually red. It was red and it turned purple, and then it disappeared in purple smoke.
Oh.
And then we ended up in Salem, Massachusetts. We ended up in Salem in 1693.
Massachusetts?
Something along those lines. It's got those letters or something.
Mm-hmm.
Where I think it's really was trying to make it look like it was pilgrims burning her at the stake, but then immediately it's no, it's other witches.
Yeah,
spelling her.
I thought that was fairly obvious. Like it was like they're trying to make it look like this, but obviously, yeah, these are other witches, and obviously that's her mother. Like
Yeah.
none of it was a surprise at all.
No, the only interesting part was that it just showed how she became so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
okay, good to know.
We also got that she's apparently been messing with magic that's supposedly beyond her standing and stuff, and that's kind of what's going on here. And she seems to absorb other people's magic or life force, or the both are one thing.
Well, I don't even know if the word is absorb. I think steal. She steals it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mhm.
So, yeah.
I don't know if we can and or should draw any parallels between the older witches having blue magic, and that's what Monica's color is.
Oh,
Maybe
that's
it's
an
just a
interesting
weird
thing.
coincidence, but there's a lot of colors in the rainbow, so I think it's weird that they're both blue.
That's a good point. And I can't think of anyone else who has like spell kind of stuff in Marvel that uses blue. So could be.
Yeah, I don't know. Just a
Yeah, it's something.
coincidence, maybe. It might be nothing. I don't know.
And then very quickly we end up moving on through the different flashbacks. So starting with the one Zoe hated the most, where Zoe, you're the one who said you didn't like the early episode one, so I'm just assuming you hated them less as it went along. Is that about right?
Oh, no. There's no order to the ones. I didn't hate the flashback, I just didn't think they brought much to the story. It just felt like it was kind of like, okay, cool, we get it. We knew she probably watched movies and TV shows as a kid. We get it. We see it now. Oh yeah, there's a star bomb. Yeah, we know. Yeah.
Allison and Cake, did either of you take a little bit more from this first one, at least, where she is a little kid and the bomb drops? Actually, Cake hasn't seen Age of Ultron, so
I have not. So, like Zoe's saying, for someone that hasn't seen all the movies, sure, this would be necessary footage to see to understand Wanda's history. And yes, now things make a lot more sense to me. But I think, I mean, it is surface level, but clearly she grew up in a loving home, a nuclear family, with watching American sitcoms was what they did. Like in her mind, that is the quintessential family. That is what you are supposed to have. So to lose all of that, and then this is the only way she can cope is just to make this version of her life with Vision and children. I think it just shows where it's coming from.
Allison, similar thoughts, or
Yeah, I would definitely agree, and I'm just gonna throw it out there. Those children are not real. They don't exist. I'm pretty sure Agatha made them. So that's
Wanda's
sad.
children, or tiny versions of Pietro and Wanda?
Wanda's children.
Oh, okay. We're just on the smaller Wanda scene, so
Cake was talking about her family that she created.
Yeah. I totally agree though.
Oh
so
yeah.
then I misinterpreted part of what Cake was saying. I thought she was talking about her own nuclear family and
Yeah, but because
like
she
in her
lost
flashback.
that nuclear
Yes,
family,
yes.
then she had to.
I gotcha. I missed a small section. Apparently, I apologize. I'm
okay.
sorry, Cake. I'll pay more attention.
My last comment on that scene was I realized that the jump scare was what they wanted,
Oh.
but holy moly, I had a sleeping cat on my lap when the bomb went off. It was no longer asleep, it was in another room. I was not expecting that at all. And I realized I probably should have seen it coming. There was fighting outside, like seriously, or obviously there was conflict going on. But holy, my heart stopped for a minute.
Even as someone who like knew like her backstory and what happened, I probably should have known that it was coming. But yeah, same. It really startled me, which is yeah, just silly.
Yeah.
And what I found really interesting about this one is basically the Agatha parts of it. So what was kind of added to what wasn't there in Age of Ultron, because first of all, we have the jokes of Agatha just being upset at how loud Pietro is. Like, Pietro, we're right here. Oh my God, why is this kid so loud? I enjoyed her there. And then also when she brings up the possibility that it never leans entirely into, but at least brings it up, of Wanda might have had magic this entire time, and she may have stopped the bomb from exploding, rather than what we had known so far of just the bomb didn't go off out of luck. Did anybody does anyone feel like that changes the character too much if she already had the magic, or what's going on here? Zoe's kind of nodding along.
Yes, I don't like retconning things. We've had that chat already. I really don't like the fact that they would be like, oh no, she was special this whole time. It's just like, no. I would like her to have her story that made her the way she is, the way we get shown in this episode. That like she had a really hard time and then she had powers and then that led her to do this, instead of being like, well, actually she was special this whole time. I don't like that.
So, can someone just explain to me, like, did Hydra give her powers? Is that what we've believed up until now?
Yes, the very next flashback we see that is her in a Hydra facility. Right. It was actually, they used one of the Infinity Stones, the one that was in the scepter from Loki in the first Avengers movie. Yes. They experimented on her and Pietro, and that gave them their powers.
Okay.
But we never saw like this exact scene or anything of them getting their powers, of her seeing the vision of Scarlet Witch and everything in there, but it was explained that this is essentially what went down.
So who was that person? Who was that Scarlet Witch that you saw? Herself?
That's actually one of the next things I want to bring to the table. What does everybody think?
I don't know. It was such a short flash, I couldn't even figure out what it was supposed to be or who it was supposed to be.
Yeah, I agree. And I was just thinking about so many other things going on in that scene, like we're kind of discussing. Like, did Hydra give her the powers? Did the Infinity Stone give her the powers? Or did it just unlock the powers that were already within her? And also, I'm also confused because when it was in the weapon
Scepter?
thing,
yeah.
it was blue. It was a blue stone.
Yeah.
But then when she started interacting with it, it turned yellow.
Yes.
And then, so is that the stone that then ended up in Vision?
Yes. Cake, so can we watch Age of Ultron? Do you want to come over tonight? Can we just show you this movie?
No, it's too late.
I think you have the gist of it, really.
Anyway, so but is that showing that she, in a way, played part of creating Vision, so they've always had this connection?
Sort of the same thing that gave Vision life gave her her powers, or if we're taking this episode fully seriously, at least enhanced her powers.
Okay, so they have had this like, what's the word?
Connection,
like pre-wrote connection. Like there is a force that holds them together.
And also, this is a major point of Avengers Infinity War in why Wanda has to be the one to kill Vision, and that was their whole debate in that movie.
Okay. So nothing new. I'm just catching up.
Yeah, that's fine. Like, there's definitely going to be some other people who haven't watched all these movies or are just watching WandaVision as their first Marvel thing. Maybe there's got to be at least one person who exists doing that.
If you're here watching, just leave a comment. Let me know that I'm not alone. I'm not the only one. That would be great.
There's dozens of us.
There has to be.
So at least for me, when I look at that quick vision she saw of somebody, because of comic book knowledge, like the headdress on her, like it may be only a second we see it, but that headdress is so unmistakably Scarlet Witch that I knew it was at least a take on her. And now I've also seen some people have like clipped that image out and like enhanced it and stuff. And my theory on it is it was her seeing what she could be in the future, or her seeing herself from another universe, or it was something of her seeing another version of her for some reason. I don't have anything more beyond that. Yeah. Zoe,
so it's really just foreshadowing.
I think so. Okay. Zoe, what did you think of this Hydra moment?
Oh, I'll be honest, I didn't even notice that flash thing of her seeing herself. So apparently I wasn't paying attention.
It was very, very fast. Yeah.
I'm just like nodding along. I'm like, I had no idea this was a thing.
And yeah, the Hydra guys also no idea it's a thing because apparently everything that happened was in like a split second and possibly in Wanda's mind because when they're watching back on the tape, she's standing 1 second and the next she's on the ground and they never seem to start their experiments.
Yeah,
Anyone?
there's just a lot of questions around that. It's just, I don't know.
And along the same lines, I want to get what everyone's thinking about this. If we are to take this new meaning of all this, if we are to believe she always had magic and the Infinity Stone just enhanced it, what does that mean for Pietro? Was he always going to be fast? Did he still only get his powers from the stone? What could we see into that?
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Pietro is like I understand he's a part of Wanda's past, but he's not really part of this story. Like we haven't really seen the real Pietro in this entire show. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that.
We do.
Yeah, I don't even think about Pietro.
What about Pietro?
I think about him all the time.
All right, so I guess moving on to the next section where it's right after the events of Age of Ultron, where Wanda is just mourning the loss of her brother and getting to chat with Vision afterwards. This is going to be like a day or so after Vision was brought to life and them kind of one of them having nobody because she feels like she's lost all her family, or she has literally lost all her family, and one of them having nobody because he was literally just born, just kind of having a moment in Wanda's room. What did you guys think about this part of the flashback?
It was a nice moment, I guess, with someone grieving and the other robot humanoid trying to connect with them, but I don't know. I kind of agree with Zoe. Like some of these flashbacks or parts of the flashbacks, I'm like, I don't care. Like we know their relationship. We know who they are together. So I guess maybe it was kind of nice to see where it started, but I don't know if it really added anything to the episode and if it needed to be that long.
I will give you that definitely a few of these were longer than I would have guessed. Cake, do you have much going on for this part?
No, I agree. This I would say was the most boring scene out of the entire episode. Like I considered fast forwarding. I was like, okay, I get it. You guys are connecting, but like I said, if she had a role in activating the jewel in his forehead, then clearly they have some type of connection that's predetermined. So it was just bound to happen anyways. So
Cake, I gotta make you watch this movie someday.
don't correct me on anything that I'm saying.
It's not entirely that you're wrong. I just want you to I just want you to see it.
Well, it's kind of snowy and gross here, so I don't feel like driving anywhere.
That's a good point. Yeah, so one thing I want to bring up with one way I was kind of disappointed with these flashbacks, because as much as I'm trying to be positive, like I did have one issue, and that was the first one left me wishing they were all going through the commercials, because the first one was the toaster Stark bomb commercial, and arguably the second, the second commercial was specifically about Strucker, and we didn't get Strucker. The third and fourth were about Hydra and her getting her powers unlocked, so arguably we kind of got that. But it's like I kind of wanted them, especially because I wanted the real life scene. I wanted evidence of what the real life scene that accompanies or corresponds to the claymation shark Yo Magic commercial. I just wanted to get confirmation I'm right about what that moment was.
And what did
Or
you
even-
think that moment was, though?
Oh, I said it was when something to do with Vision getting killed and the snap and all that. Yeah. Yeah, so I would really like to get that. But then the one that I think everyone was much more into, we move on to Sword right after Endgame. She comes over. She knows Vision's here. And kind of a new perspective on something we had already seen, because Hayward was showing off the video of what looked like her breaking in and really starting some shit to steal this body, but that's not really what happened at all.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how he's rewritten that narrative for ulterior motives. And yeah, like through that entire scene or scenes, Wanda is just grieving. She's literally just grieving, and she literally just wants to have that opportunity to say goodbye properly. And I think it really showed the type of person that Hayward is, and yeah, he's not great.
No, real sketchy. Zoe, what about you in this area?
He's so condescending. I can't. Every time I see it, he's just talking down at her the entire scene. And it's just, I hate him so much. I just find it interesting that he was kind of like, he didn't put the thought in her head, but he was kind of like, so what if you revive him kind of thing? Like, and I think that might have been what triggered her to like revive him in her intense grief that we see later. But yeah, no, he's just a piece of garbage.
Yeah, Cake?
Yeah, totally agree with what you guys are saying. Like she went there just grieving and so sad, like just mourning, and she was not angry. She wasn't angry. She might have been a little upset that they weren't letting her in and like open the door herself, but she wasn't furious. She wasn't out for revenge. She had no reason to really be mad at these people until she saw his body. And Hayward, he was manipulating her by the things that he was saying. Like, he wanted her to steal the body. He wanted her to reanimate Vision because they couldn't do it. They couldn't figure out how to make it work. And he was lying. Like, they weren't decommissioning him. He wanted to bring him back online.
Yeah, and it's also terrible. A lot of the wording he was using involving Vision, like calling him a thing, just saying that he's really just $3 billion worth of vibranium. He's a weapon. Like when he brings up the idea of bringing him back to life, he at first says reinitiating him or reinitializing, whatever, computer jargon for him. And it's so much of like the Vision is just an object, a weapon, a non-person to him.
Yeah. So I think it's very interesting that this whole scene completely shifts our point of view on Wanda, because we've been thinking this whole time that, oh my goodness, she went crazy. She broke into Sword and she stole a robot's body and she brought him back to life. That's crazy. But that's not what happened at all. She peacefully left and didn't do any of that. I mean, okay, yeah, she did go to Westview and weird things started happening, but she didn't steal a body. And that's what's important.
She did not instigate the conflict with Sword, and I think that's the big thing to take away from this, is it's all been Hayward.
Yeah. Yet another example of a white man making a woman look crazy for having emotions.
Even when she has her emotions completely in check, at least at this point.
Like, she even went to the receptionist for, like, she's probably spent what I'm guessing is half an hour at the receptionist's desk being like, no, but can I come in? And he's just like, she's actually not even yelling at him, which I thought was
right,
like emphasizing what you said about her being like calm and just sad. And she just, that poor guy though, she's like, yeah, she's still here. Yeah. Just like,
you think about it, while she was standing there patiently waiting, Hayward's in the back with his scientists setting up this scene. Like, he's just the worst. The absolute worst.
Hayward is the true villain of this show, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, close second with Agatha, because she's gone a little crazy for power, but yeah.
I'm going to call Hayward worse. Okay, so we move over to Westview, where we're getting the second half of what started this whole chain of events, where she is following a piece of paper that we don't know what it is at first, but it turns out to be the deed for a piece of land that Vision bought. And fun thing I just want to toss in here, just in case anyone didn't notice, on the deed it says Wanda Maximoff and the Vision, written as though his first name is the, and I just find that hilarious.
That's a cute detail.
Yeah. The minor levity in this moment of a woman dealing with the death of her loved one. Anybody got anything to say about pre-Hex Westview and what led to everything here?
Other than it's sad. That is a
Yeah.
sad community.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, this whole sequence was heartbreaking for me. It's just like, everything keeps piling up on poor Wanda, and she's just like, go driving through this really quiet, boring town. And then you find out that she has a plot plan, and it's just, yeah, it was just very heartbreaking. That they were just gonna try and have their really like little peaceful life and just like in the middle of nowhere. And they couldn't do it. That's sad.
And minor context too, when he would have bought this was when Wanda's been on the run for like 5 years, or not 5 years, something like 2 years or something. Like she's been able to do anything but settle down basically, and he bought this land for them to grow in old together in, and just some extra context to make it more upsetting.
He wouldn't
But,
really
yeah.
grow old, though, would he?
I would assume not.
Be like being married to a vampire.
But we also don't know the full extent of her
I
power.
mean, there's probably a point where like the technology is obsolete, probably. It just
He
gets
also-
really slow, like a Windows 95.
Yeah, you know what? All the time she's going to have to plug him in and put in the updates, it's going to eventually overload it all. He's going to go a little senile, slow down. It's fair. So everything gets the worst possible, and she builds her own house and turns it black and white and changes the entire town and creates a second vision, where we were led to believe this whole time that there was one vision. We have two.
Which
There-
explains why when he tried to leave the hex, he was literally disintegrating. Because he cannot exist outside of it.
Which, if these children were made by Wanda, like the theory has already been stated here that it's could be Agatha did it, so it could be a completely different thing. But if they were made by Wanda, this could mean they can't leave the hex either.
They're not real. Like it's
They're fake kids.
yeah, it's fantasy. So, but yeah,
I wonder.
go ahead, Cake.
I was just gonna say, I wonder though, showing us what Westview was before, where like windows were boarded up, it was clearly a town on the edge of extinction.
Mhm.
I realize that Wanda is controlling these people, so they don't have free will, but she has essentially revived this town. She has brought life back to it. I wonder if there's some happy medium where the hex can stay, her powers can stay, she has Vision and her children, which I mean, yeah, sure, they're not really real, they can't go on vacation to Mexico, but she has her life, maybe gives free will back to the people, and the town is rejuvenated. That could be a nice happy ending. And then someone just throw Hayward into a volcano or something. I don't know. That'd be
I like
dope.
I'm down.
Should I write a TV show? I think I should write a TV show.
Can you just send that to Marvel and tell them this should be the actual final episode?
Yeah, if you guys could just go reshoot the final episode, we have a new script for you.
They need
Just
to
throw
reshoot
Hayward
the
into a
entire-
volcano. Just
Yeah. The last 5 minutes, throw him into a volcano. It just wraps everything up. No, but you know what I mean? Like, maybe I realize that what she's done isn't super great, but it could evolve to be something really good for this little struggling town in the middle of New Jersey, which, you know, New Jersey has a pretty rough time, so I think this is, all things considering, the best possible outcome for New Jersey.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
All right, so we have two final moments here. One, we are back completely in the present. We know what's going on, and Agatha has the children tied up by the throat and screaming for their mother. And I gotta bring this up. I saw one funny tweet that was just someone being like, can't the kids just like step backwards and they won't be being choked?
Right? Kids are dumb.
have tiny brains.
It's true. They're very small. It affects their brains. They can't think about stepping backwards. They just want to move forwards
Yep.
at all times.
Yes.
And this is also the first time we're hearing the name Scarlet Witch, which is why they made a huge deal of it back in like episode 4 that she has no fancy nickname or anything. Because apparently it's a title and not just a superhero name.
I don't
Right,
understand
like
what you
it's-
mean by that.
It's a thing, like how Buffy's the Slayer.
Yeah.
Oh.
There have been others, presumably.
It sounds, she's literally calls it's like a person of myth and the person capable of spontaneous creation and using chaos magic, which I guess nobody else does, or at least not to this degree.
I
Interesting.
mean, it sounds like the best type of magic.
Yeah, like I'm not mad.
Yeah.
Good for her. This is great, super. You're the Scarlet
It's all
Witch.
going very well.
Congrats.
Also wanted to point out, just for cake's sake, that she was wearing a burgundy shirt for the most part of this episode.
Yes, and her car was burgundy, and we see that her hair does progress from dark brown/black to some level of red. Okay, we get it. You like a color palette.
I just meant because of Burgundy Magician. She was specifically in burgundy and not scarlet.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay.
I wish that Agatha had blue hair. Purple hair.
I'm sure she would rock it.
I also have to say that in the final scene with Agatha holding the children hostage, like I don't know what was going on with her makeup or the lighting. I don't know, but her face looked different. Like it didn't really look like the actress, if that makes any sense. Like I was weirded out. I think everyone just needs to go back and look at it.
Actually, while we're throwing this in here, in her first scene in the 1693 scene, I kept going back and forth on if I thought they were like digitally de-aging her a little bit. Like not a lot, but it looked like they touched her up a little bit, but I wasn't entirely sure. It just looked slightly off. I don't know. I might have just been crazy.
I didn't notice that, but definitely in the final scene. Like I don't know if they just tried to give her more like dramatic, like Maleficent evil makeup to really drive home that fact, but it was uncanny. I didn't like her face.
Oh.
I didn't catch that at all. Like,
Oh,
no.
it's weird.
No.
Okay.
Zoe, did you?
No, I did not. But then again, once again, she's too much for me. I can't. She's just too over the top, too theatrically staged. So I just didn't notice, but I wasn't paying attention. You very well could be right.
Zoe likes her witches subtle.
Yes. I just felt like she was very much like the entire episode, and it was just I was like, okay, we get it.
Agatha is very dramatic. That is true.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's just like the Disney factor playing in. They're like, oh, you're doing witches now? Let us show you witches.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. It very much felt like just how villainy can a witch get, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm having a lot of fun with Catherine Hahn's over the topness. I very much enjoy it.
That's good. She's a great actress. So.
Yeah. And then finally the mid-credits scene where we find out for sure Hayward does still have his other vision, and it's not just any vision, it is the whitest vision to ever be seen. And he's alive again.
That thing is off-putting.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Where'd they get that crystal from? In his head.
Yeah, I don't know.
Before it was the yellow one, and then that's what Thanos ripped out and killed him. So they would need a new crystal. And Hayward doesn't seem like the type that just has crystals. If he does, he's not using them properly. So yeah, where did this crystal come from?
It's a very good question.
Is the paleness important in some aspect?
So
because he was pale when they were taking him apart when he was dead, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like for me, it was kind of conveying that he wasn't fully like kind of zombified version of the Vision, rather than just like, I don't think he's gonna be who he is. That's my theory. I just don't think he's gonna be like the Vision. It felt like he was just kind of half dead still. Didn't have a soul because he doesn't have the soul stone in him. The Mind Stone, whichever stone he has.
Can we
Yeah, the
call him
Mind
the
Stone.
Nightmare then, if he's the bad vision?
Ooh, I like it.
Very nice. I will toss this in here. White Vision has a comic book precedent. He was around a long time ago, and this actually split up Scarlet Witch and Vision back then. And basically, White Vision is Vision after the government broke him apart and put him back together, which is exactly what's happened here. And he has none of his emotions or anything. So
he's literally just a robot.
yeah.
A very, very, very strong robot.
Yeah, like basically everything Zoe said about it's probably going to be he comes back with no soul and everything. That's exactly what it is in the comics. And like there's comic book panels of him being like, these aren't my kids. What is this?
Oh, Wanda is not going to deal well with that.
Yes. And also, fun little fact here. Apparently, Paul Bettany was saying in interviews early on with this show that he was so excited because there's some actor he's never gone to work with before that he got to work with on this show. And now that we're seeing that there's two visions, a lot of people are saying that Paul Bettany was just talking about acting with himself. He's going to have a scene with himself.
So dorky.
Yeah.
What a dork.
Such a great tease. I love it. All right, we have one episode left. Is there anything anyone's most hoping for? Any stories left to be finished off in here? How's everyone feeling before this final episode?
But what about the beekeeper?
What about the beekeeper? Poor guy.
I kind of want the post-credit scene of the final episode to be just the reveal of the beekeeper. The next big bad of the Marvel universe.
Right. But like if he was still for some reason in the sewer system when she expanded the heck, oh, he has no hope of getting out now. Not a chance.
No, he's going to just turn into a mutant, a sewer mutant.
Perfect.
And that's how we're going to bring Futurama into this whole thing. Stay tuned.
Oh, I don't know. The mutants are revolting.
My hope is, for the final episode, is that Wanda realizes how powerful herself and Agatha could be together, and they just fall in love and live happily ever after in their bubble.
I like it. Do we have any hope for Good Vision staying alive?
No, he's not real. He doesn't actually exist.
Except for like the final episode that I've already.
Yes, that is
Already
true.
said.
Well, of course.
That would be the only way. Is if the
Yes.
hex somehow stays, then New Vision could stay.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I want to see in the final episode is just the three best friends back together because I really missed them.
Oh, I miss them. They were not here, and that's probably why I'm grumpy about this episode more.
Yeah,
They're the best.
they're just the best of friends.
But
That's actually
we were also really excited to see
Darcy.
Darcy, thank you, in the hex and see what that was going to be like. And we got like half an episode where she's just driving around with Vision in a funnel cake truck. Like, no, I want to see her in the town. I want to see her doing stuff. Disappointing.
That's the thing. Almost everyone is converging right now. Like we have
No, that was great though. That funnel cake truck was amazing.
Agatha, Wanda, the twins, Monica, and Pietro all in that one area right now where things are about to go down. Vision's heading there and is going to be there immediately because he's flying. Darcy's coming there, but she's driving and keeps being held up, but she'll show up eventually. Presumably White Vision is going to go in and screw things up. It's really just Wu who's on the outside, which I think means only one thing, because Hayward's not going to go in the hex. Wu has to kill Hayward. He's the one throwing him in the volcano.
Yes.
I hope that
All right.
happens.
And any last thoughts from anybody?
Yes. Yeah, I just thought like the parallel between like the fact that we thought someone was feeding off her powers the entire thing, and turns out Hayward was instead of Agatha was pretty interesting. Like because Agatha seems to be feeding off other people's powers, from what we can see in the flashback, but turns out Hayward's been feeding off Wanda's powers this whole time to just turn on Vision.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was kind of an interesting twist.
Oh yeah, very
Definitely.
interesting. And Allison, Cake, anything final from you guys?
Nope.
Nope.
I got nothing.
I got nothing. Like I said, just want the best friends back together. That's my greatest
Hopefully.
wish.
All right, and with that, that brings us to the end of the penultimate UNTV talking about WandaVision. Just one more episode remaining. What did you guys think? What are we missing? Was there some cool references that none of us got? Be sure to let us know in the comments. Like the video. Share this with your best friend, because you know what? Your best friend wants to watch this too. I guarantee it. And yeah, with that, goodbye, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.